What's up, guys? This is Voodoo from Voodoo's House of Hoodoo, Special Edition Mortal Kombat X, and I have a guest with me today.
My name is Sean from DQ Gaming.
There we go, we got Sean from DQ Gaming. This is going to be a kind of unique take and series, I guess, where I'm going to actually discuss the competitive side of gaming and explain it to somebody who pretty much has very little understanding of the competitive side of gaming.
That would be me.
not to risk sounding insulting or anything, I don't mean to.
No, but by all means.
And I think it'll be interesting too to have somebody who knows and then somebody who doesn't know, so you can kind of like reflect on the things I'm explaining and ask questions and questions that the viewers might have.
Exactly.
So
let's get underway.
We'll get right into it. And fortunately, right here where we're at, we're gonna go over the pause screen. I know a lot of you guys are like, but pause screen, look, it's all self-explanatory. Sure, yeah. All this is self-explanatory, but we're going to go into the move list, because this is where it's really important. And coincidentally, the PS4 has the upgraded version of the pause screen, which the PC does not, but that's fine.
Well, I'm lucky to be on the PS4 then.
So, right here where it says basic, in fighting game terminology, we typically refer to these as normals. There's variations here of normals. Everybody has different buttons that do different things, which I will actually show since we can get in there. And actually, when I was first thinking about doing this, I was thinking about going over annotations as well.
Mm-hmm.
So since we're going to discuss annotations as well, because I want to, we're going to say square, or X for the Xbox users,
right,
is known as 1. Triangle for the PS4 users, Y for the Xbox users. Which is backstrike for Cassie, typically is referred to as 2. And then X is 3, which is also A, and circle and or B is 4. Okay. So whenever you see annotations with like down, back, etc., 1, 2, 3, 4, now you know where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. So whenever you go looking around at combo videos and stuff and you see like DB1, DB means down, back. Right. F means forward. Mm-hmm. JI is something that I just recently found out actually means jump in.
Jump in, okay.
Yes. NJ means neutral jump, which means you jump without going in any direction. Mm. So, there's all those for the directions. Obviously, kind of self-explanatory.
I'm going to start writing this stuff down myself. Jeez.
So, stances typically don't have much to do with the game. But the unique thing about the stances, and it's possible that there actually might be stance-specific combos, which I have no idea about. But
I discovered a stance-specific brutality on Johnny Cage the other day.
Oh, really?
Yes.
He has a stance-specific brutality. What?
Actually, both him and his opponent have to both be facing towards the screen in order for it to work. Otherwise, it won't happen.
Oh. Well, that's a very unique setup for that brutality.
Yeah.
So that one's probably going to be hard to get off, but that's really cool. So there is some type of use for stances. Mm-hmm. And then since we're going over buttons, I'll also go over block, which is going to vary for everybody. I set my block to be a completely different button. Mm-hmm. People just refer to block as block, stance as stance. Then there's your interactable button. Mm-hmm. And then there's your throw button, which I normally swap my interactable and my throw button. Right. Because with Cassie specifically, she has an air throw in a different variation, and I like to have my throw button a little bit closer, just because I typically play Street Fighter or use the 3-button format. So now that we've gone over the annotation, let's get into the move type. So move type here, we have front jab for Cassie is a high. So the way highs work is if a character is ducking, highs whiff on ducking characters.
Can't touch them at all.
Nope.
Just looking right at you as you just miss every single shot.
And even if you have... Okay, that's a mid. I didn't know that was a mid.
Now you know.
Now I know. So, like I said, highs go over blocking character, or go over crouching characters. But if a character is... Oh, I don't want to set to auto. It's a mistake. If he's blocking low, highs will hit. And he has to block it. Unless you're Kano.
Yeah, we found out with Kano that you could explain that.
Yeah, so the thing is without getting too into detail about hurtbox and hitbox, which comes later video too. His highs go over Sub-Zero's crouch block. So, well, at least 2 of his highs go over Sub-Zero's crouch block. So that means if he tries to use it, it's just not going to work. So that's something for Kanos to know. Which again stinks, but what are you going to do? So we've gone over highs, let's go over mids. Alright, this one's a mid, so it's back 1, as you can see by the annotation here. Back 1. Back 1 hits mid. Now notice, Sub-Zero, this actually hits Sub-Zero while he's crouch blocking. So mids, you can block crouching and or standing. And it doesn't make a difference which direction you block it, or which, you block it in, whether it's crouching or standing, but you have to block mids crouching. They won't go over you. And since he's still in standing block now, we will go into lows, which are right here. Now lows, you cannot block standing. So you'll notice what some people like to do is they like to jump in and then go for a low. Because the low will hit you because you want to block standing high.
Right.
Which
from my understanding is the beginning of a mix-up.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Good thing I know my terminology.
which mix-ups, again, is another later video, but we'll get into that. But the thing is, the reason why you're going to block the jump in high says overhead. So we'll get into overhead, because Cassie actually has a standing overhead. So
the heel plunge.
The heel plunge. So Cassie's forward 3 is an overhead.
She just plunges her heel right into the top.
Yep. So you have to block it standing. You cannot block it crouching. It will hit every time. And you'll notice some people will end it with that, which you'll come to find out later.
Right.
And now, the other thing to bring up is throws. Oh, that's not a throw. That's a throw. So throws you can't block. You can do what we call teching throws, which I'm just going to set the computer to do it automatically because it's really hard to do in this game. I'm just going to set throw break mode on. So you can break throws. You still take damage when you're being thrown.
Apparently being grabbed hurts.
Yeah, apparently just being touched hurts in this game. So when you're grabbed, even though you break the grab, you still lose a little bit of health. But you can break the grab and not take more damage.
Okay.
Now let's turn the throw break off. And let's set Sub-Zero to ducking block. Now, ducking block, you can still be thrown. And as you can see, well more than 2% damage. So it's worth it if you think he's going to throw to try to break the throw.
He's able to get thrown while ducking, but as far as when standing, he's able to break it off?
You're only able to break throws when you're not blocking.
Okay.
So you cannot be blocking and break a throw at the same time. It doesn't work.
Okay.
And when you're crouching and blocking, again, this gets into the whole hitbox, hurtbox thing. Your what we call a hurtbox is technically bigger. So things that shouldn't normally hit you when you're crouching can, because you've essentially extended this box that surrounds your character.
Okay.
Which kind of gets into the coding of the game.
Gotcha.
And again, way more complicated
and
stuff.
that's probably to stop like turtles from just blocking, evading throw, blocking, evade throw.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it allows you to deal with people who like to turtle a lot. And that's the thing with overheads. They allow you to deal with people who turtle a lot. Lows allow you to deal with people who turtle a lot. It gives you different options to stop somebody who's just going to block all the time.
Okay.
Which I have a habit of doing. I block a little too much. But that's because I expect people to play really aggressively.
Like me.
Yeah, like a lot of people.
I play aggressively. I forget the block button many times.
And a lot of people do. A lot of newer players just like to beat up on people, and that's fine. If you want to do that, go ahead. But when you lose, at least now you kind of understand why. It's like, oh, this guy's playing very defensively. Oh, it's so annoying.
Right.
Well, he's playing defensively because you're playing so aggressively.
Right.
Which, that's another thing that's a topic that goes way down the line.
Yep, we'll get to that later.
And if we turn blocking off, the throw whiffs. So what he's doing now we call neutral ducking in the Mortal Kombat community, in the NetherRealm Studios community.
Okay.
He is neutral ducking, which means anything that's a high goes over, including projectiles.
Gotcha.
It'll all go over. Unless you have a projectile which happens to hit mid, which that does not. Which I was hoping it did, but that's fine.
I think Kano does. He has that one where he throws high, mid, and low, that they all register high.
They all register mid.
Oh, they all register mid.
Yes, they all register mid. In Kano's cybernetic variation, they all register mid. It's the special version of his special move. But his regular one actually hits mid too. In his other two variations, it hits high. In cybernetic, it hits mid. So now we've gone over, high, low, mid, overhead, blocking, throws. We'll go over projectiles since I just used one.
Yep.
And we'll keep the straight up ducking, but no blocking. Projectiles can hit from just about anywhere on the screen depending on your character. Cassie has one projectile, which is her gunshot, And as you can probably see off my moves that's how it's working, but we'll go into special moves anyways. And single shot, there you go, hits high. It tells you that right there in the move data screen.
Right.
And the special one I did, which I was hoping hit mid, does not, but
only
it shows
high
you
for
right
Cassie.
there. Only high for Cassie. So you have a projectile. So you typically use the projectiles, obviously, when you want to stay away or when you want just to get easy damage against certain characters across the screen who can't traverse the screen as quickly to get to you.
Right.
Sub-Zero's Unbreakable. See how it blocks the projectile?
Right.
And I'm pretty sure he didn't even take damage from that. Yeah, he doesn't even
Nope,
take damage.
No damage.
So, you know, a nice thing to know if you're Sub-Zero and you're full screen and you're playing Unbreakable, okay. If they're going to throw projectiles, I can occasionally use this if I'm trying to get in. Now, we'll talk about the air moves. Cassie does have an air move, Air Akimbo, and you'll notice it says air next to the input there.
Right.
Which means it is a command she uses in the air to get an air special move. You can use these typically to catch people if you expect them to jump. So if I'm sitting here and I'm shooting at Sub-Zero full screen and I know he's going to jump, I can jump, shoot a couple gunshots, boom, full screen again. And I can just kind of keep this going. And notice how it actually does more than one shot.
Should we get Sub-Zero jumping in the air?
Yeah, let's get Sub-Zero jumping in the air.
Ooh, Sub-Zero's having a fun time. Boom, boom, high, high.
See, so when you expect him to jump, you can kind of get your shots off. I'm preempting it a lot, but that's because I expect him to jump.
You can even hit it on the way down, too, apparently.
Yeah, so you can actually do it, like, really low.
There you go.
So if you can actually do it pretty close to low on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And for taller characters like Goro and Ferrator and Kotal Khan, you can actually catch them like that.
Okay.
So if you can get your timing down just right, you can actually hit them while they're still standing.
Gotcha.
It will not hit crouching, though. There's nothing you can do about that.
Of course.
And what I was doing, or what I was trying to do, was what we call instant air gunshots, but that's an execution thing that comes way later.
Right.